Hey, this is George,
Hey, this Rage.
and this is Real Talk with George and Frazier. I want to
How you
thank
doing?
you guys for our second episode live on Facebook Live. We are really excited to have TBA heavyweight champion Milton Mendez. He'll be joining us shortly to the show on the broadcast. I'm just waiting for him to come into the dashboard. But what's going on, Frazier?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going
Hey,
good.
it's a pleasure doing another show. Blessing always, you know how I go.
Yeah, man, I know how it goes.
hey, hey, man, today we got a great guest today. I mean, a real great guest today. I
Beautiful,
know him
beautiful.
personally. He's very good. Um, like I say, champion. What can I say? Super heavyweight champion.
Nice. I see
Hey,
him in here now. And so, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome heavyweight champ Milton to the show.
Hey, how you doing today, man?
Doing pretty good, sir. Welcome to Real Talk. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing great, man. Thank you.
Beautiful,
Pleasure being
beautiful.
here.
All right,
oh
right,
yeah.
right. So, I've written a few books. I've been a martial arts instructor, man, for 30 years. I was very, very versed in MMA, mixed martial arts. I've done everything from Korean kickboxing. So I know the struggle as a fighter, instructor, competitor. You know what I mean? And we wanted to really bring the fans on and bring people on to get your point of view, what you've done, what you've been doing, what's going on now with your life. Are you still competing? What's next for you? So take it away, champ.
Well, everything's been great, man. I started this at a real late age. Uh, most people will say. I've learned that age is nothing but a number on here.
That's right.
Uh, I started at 38. You know, and before you know it, at 40 years old, I'm WTBA world champion. Um, I've been from everything from student. Now I'm more in the coaching side. Even though I'm still competing, I'm a Muay Thai fighter, and now I'm getting my feet wet into MMA.
Okay.
Uh, I'm in the coaching, more on the coaching side right now because, believe it or not, man, I was supposed to compete the 26 a couple of days ago,
Okay.
and COVID got me.
Wow.
COVID-19. It produced pulmonary embolism, basically a blood clot on my lung.
Oh
So
man.
yeah, that's why I had to pull out of the fight.
Okay.
Uh, I received a lot of negative stuff because I had to pull out. I have never pulled out of a fight, but they put me on blood thinners, and the doctor said basically, you can't fight. You know,
Right.
you get hit the wrong way, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Uh, so that pushed me through. I got a little depressed there for a second,
No,
like,
absolutely.
oh man, I'm not able to do what I love. I'm not able to do this and that. And it pushed me more like, okay, since I cannot do it right now, it's only 6 months that I'm in blood thinners. And I've been 2 months already into it. Well, let me start helping some of my friends. And I started coaching. Before you know it, now I have a little team going on. They're supposed to fight in 2 days.
Mhm.
Uh, I have 3 people fighting in 2 days. Komodo Dragon in here in Fort Lauderdale, and man, I've learned a lot from the coaching side too.
Absolutely. Now,
Nice.
before we get there, I have a question for you because of
Yes.
COVID. There's so much misinformation out there about COVID-19. Per se, a lot of people would say if you get it, there's a good possibility you can die if you're susceptible to it. Do you know, or can you tell at least our fans, what were some of the side effects that you had from COVID-19 first? And secondly, was it because you were healthy enough, exercising, competing, training your body that you felt that that gave you an edge dealing with just strictly COVID-19?
Believe it or not, man, I was asymptomatic. I had no cough, no fever,
Okay.
nothing happened to me, so I had no idea I had it. One day I go to the gym and I start a grappling session, and I gas out, and there was no AC in the gym, so I'm like, okay, I overheated. I don't feel good. I attach it to that and call it a day.
Right.
The next day, I go to the gym in the morning. I was doing okay. Let me go a little bit of background before I get into that. I was getting ready for the fight. I was training about 3 times a day, an hour and a half each time. So I'm putting in a good 4 to 6 hours of training a day. I got to the point that I was in tune. Like the diet was right,
Nice.
the exercising was right. I was spacing every 4 hours, and I was in tune with my body. So I knew my gas tank. I knew what I could do, what I couldn't do, how much I'm supposed to last, the whole 9 yards. Well, the second day that I go to the gym, I go to a little sparring session. In the second round, I gassed. Like something happened. Like they took a spark plug out of the car and I misfired.
Wow.
Wow.
So I'm like, you know what? I call my wife and say, take me to the hospital. I'm not okay. And that's how I find out. I attribute me finding out what I had due to the fitness and exercising program that I was into.
Right.
So yes, it did help me. And when I got to the hospital and they finally figured out that it was a blood clot on the lung due to COVID, that was the only symptom I had. They said you would have waited a week or two more, and we wouldn't be talking. We wouldn't be having this conversation.
Oh
Wow.
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 Yeah, you would have
Wow.
been intubated. You would have had scar tissue in the lungs. I mean, it would have been bad.
Okay.
So due to exercise, due to martial arts and the regimen that I was in, I was able to listen to my body and get into it early.
Nice. That's
Nice.
beautiful. That's beautiful. So, just a follow up question: what would you recommend to everybody else listening to this, strictly about COVID-19? Now, the goal of this question really is to get rid of the misinformation, okay, and address the real substance of it. Like you said, you were asymptomatic.
Well, it's a real thing, man. Everybody that touches is just a flu, like kind of like a flu.
Right.
That's not true. I mean, a flu doesn't give you blood clots on the lung. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
uh, was there something that could have done different? Maybe watch out who I train with a little more.
Right.
Uh, a little stuff here and there. I should have been more careful. Wear the mask, a little more. But we cannot also live in fear that this is going to happen to us. So I stop living life.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
Exactly.
you have to watch out for yourself. You have to be uh, uh, aware of the situation. But you also have to live life. So yeah, wear the mask, social distance, keep your group of training partners smaller. That's what I will say. Don't just train with anybody. I mean, when you train, you exchange bodily fluids. It's gonna happen.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
exactly.
You know what? The worst part about it for me was it was like having an STD. I
Okay.
had yeah,
Okay.
I had to call everybody that I train with. I'm like, hey man, we trained yesterday and I just tested positive for COVID. So I had to call you and let you know. And I had to do that several times to several people. It was like when you're an STD, you have to call everybody that you've been with.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
Wow.
So
So let me ask you, not to keep harping on this, we're going to get to coaching and training and stuff
Yeah.
like this, but this is a real thing right now that we're actually into, and like you said, take it seriously. Where a lot of people are like, "Oh, COVID is still not real. We're not wearing masks or things like that." How did those conversations go? Were your training partners really surprised, or were they taken back? Were they panicked?
well, at the beginning, yeah, at the beginning it was like, oh my god, like I can't believe this happened.
Right.
Thankfully enough, for some reason, none of my training partners were positive.
Amen.
That's a blessing. That was a
Yes,
blessing.
and I'm talking about we wrestle. I mean, we get down and dirty, and thankfully enough, I didn't. None of them tested positive. They were able to keep on going. But it was an eye opener for me because I was very, very nonchalant about the whole situation. Now I'm
Right.
a little more aware of it.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Exactly.
Phrase, go ahead. Your question.
Yo, so let me ask a question. So, how different are you going to train from now, looking forward to from now on, knowing that COVID-19, there's health issues, and based on that, how you change your regimen and training now? You modified it or still the
Well,
same?
my training is completely the same. The only thing that changes is that now I clean my equipment before and after. I use it.
Yeah.
A little more precaution. Clean the mats a little better. Like even before I get. Usually after I sweat all over them, I go and clean it up. Now it's
Yeah,
before I even touch it, I'm gonna clean it up. Because I don't know who cleaned it before me.
definitely,
Right.
You know.
definitely.
So that's one of the changes I've made. I mean, training wise, I'm training still the same.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
So, is it what for the ones out there looking? Is your diet helped you a lot too? I mean, what's your diet regimen now
Well,
based on what you know now?
part of the eating right and having the right supplements and having the being in tune with your body, man, listening to your body, it helps a lot because when something, like I said, a spark plug, you take the spark plug
Yeah.
out and you have a misfire. If you are not doing the right things, you won't probably even notice it.
Right.
But if you're
Yeah.
doing the right things, you're eating the right things, you're exercising, you will notice when something is not feeling right.
Right.
Exactly. Okay.
So
Uh,
let's talk a little bit about the TBA. What is it? It's a local organization because
No, man. The TBA is worldwide.
okay.
It's the Thai Boxing Association. It was founded by Ajarn Chai. Ajarn is a name that you give. Means master in the Thai language.
Okay.
Uh, this is the biggest organization of Muay Thai in the United States.
Beautiful. Okay. So I know the ISKA had been an organization that is equivalent to that per se, where they set up a lot of rules and regulations for Muay
Right.
Thai. Are they on that particular level as well too, or are they neck and neck, two different lanes?
Well, it's ISKA is more like a karate based
Yeah.
program. I mean, when it comes like here, at least here in Florida, we just approved elbows on
yeah.
fights. So like, m- are you really doing Muay Thai if you're not throwing elbows? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Exactly. I was there, and I'm Muay man.
Yeah.
But the thing with elbows, just to be fair in professional sports, I know in MMA it's good to cut, but you really can't train effectively with an elbow because an elbow does so much damage. You know
Right,
what I
but
mean?
but
It
we
cuts
we
and
have
it
the
breaks.
we have the elbow pads. I mean, like elbows are. You're right. They're not meant to really knock you out all the time or anything like that. Elbows are. It's like a razor blade. They're meant to cut you.
Right,
They're meant to do damage. But with the right elbow pads and the right gear, you can practice elbows. You can. I mean, you. We have to be. We have to take care of our partners. Like I have this thing to where I don't get injured at the gym, and I hate going hard at the gym. I
Yeah.
hate having concussions. If I'm gonna get injured, if something's gonna happen to me, it's on the ring.
right.
When I get up there is when stuff happens. When with my training partners, nothing should ever happen other
Absolutely.
than an accident here and there. It happens.
Yeah. The keep. The keep.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So talk to me
Oh,
about the kids that you're coaching this. You said coming up, I guess this week or this month they have a fight or whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, this weekend it started. I never really thought about coaching. I'm a fighter at heart. And I've always said that you can do both. I mean, you cannot be a fighter and a coach at the same time because to be a fighter, I'm selfish.
Right.
yeah.
When I get into when I'm preparing to get into that ring for those 6 minutes, I am the. Those are my 6 minutes. Forget about my family. Forget about my kids. Forget about everything. My 6 minutes. Those 6 minutes is all about me. Uh, and the moment that I'm in there with somebody else, I cannot be thinking about anything other than the job that I gotta do.
Right.
Um, so in my training, it's the same. That hour of training that I have, when I have it, is all about me. I'm selfish. Uh, Now, when it comes to the coaching side, I realize I have is I'm no longer selfish. Now I have to be giving and caring, uh, and it's terrible because I mean, like I wish I could go in there with them and help them. And I say, no, now it's your chance. Now you get to be selfish. Now you get to be those 6 minutes of only you.
Well,
You
the
know,
reason why I'm smiling is because I'm a martial arts instructor as well too. So I understand that when you say it's your turn because now you basically become a parent. All
right?
my students that I teach, I call them my Taekwondo children. And I've had some that I started at 4-year-old. Now they're 20-year-old grown adult men
Wow.
telling me, that thank you for doing what you've done. So, the principles that you taught me have gotten me here today. So I smiled when you said, being a coach and instructor, because yeah, those are your kids now. You're pouring the knowledge that you have into them.
That's
Yeah, no,
true.
and I feel just like that. I mean, like they're about to compete in Saturday in the next 2 days, and I'm nervous like if it was my first fight.
Right.
Yeah.
So where are they
Exactly.
competing this Saturday? Maybe we can give them a
Uh,
plug.
Komodo Training Center is a tournament.
Okay.
It's a small tournament that they put together. Like right now the competitions have been real because of COVID.
Okay.
The competitions are nearly none. So they put this together. So they join in. They asked me to train them. I'm like, and that's how it started. because of the training that I've done, and they see me training all the time at the gym. They ask me, "Hey, we would like to compete. Can you help us?" And
Right.
all of a sudden, people start joining. They join me on my training, and they start training with me, and now they're competing.
Nice.
Nice,
Beautiful. Beautiful.
nice. Now train with you. You're good. I know. I train with you, so I know you're good at
Thank
what
you,
you
thank you,
do. Hey, always.
man.
So when
I'm
you're,
not good. I just put work.
We
yeah,
always put
hard
work in.
work,
Yeah,
hard work.
remember how we work hard. Remember, work hard pays off.
That's right. So in your area, would you say that you're starting to come up and be one of the a promoter? Because you said you're doing small competitions and things like that. Is there a need for that in your area? Is what I'm asking you.
There is a need for responsible coaching. There is a need for
Yes.
responsible promotion.
Yes.
Uh, there is a need for people to, like me. I'm gonna go with these guys to fight. Like I told them, my job there, which I wish I always had, is to protect you. I'm not gonna let anybody put on with a. It's your first fight. I'm not gonna let somebody put you with a 20 time fighter.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
or different weight class. So it's like you said, I let my kids, so I gotta make sure they're all right. So responsible that the other part that I found out about coaching is that it is a it is a place of authority. Like you were saying, you have people come up
Exactly.
to you and thank you for the principles and everything that you showed me. And when people come up to you, it's from a place of vulnerability.
That's right.
You know, they
Exactly.
come to you because they need help. They need help with
Right.
something in life,
Right.
something, like we might not even know what it is. Maybe they need to work out because something in their marriage, anything, it can be
Exactly.
anything. And I I'm realizing how important it is to be careful, to be aware of this situation, because whatever you say, whatever you do, can have an effect in somebody's life,
That's
That is
right.
true.
especially when they see you from that place of authority. Whether you see it or not.
Yeah. I just wanted to follow up on that because as instructors or coaches or everything, we have two faces. We have our personal face and then we have our professional face. And what I found over the years is the fact that you always have to have your professional face because it keeps me centered. You know what I mean? Like, I get mad, I get angry, I'm a human being, okay? But the first thing I think about is what will my students think if I'm out here screaming, punching somebody in the mouth, saying all kinds of things that are negative. It goes against the principles that I taught them. You see
Right.
what I mean? So it holds me accountable. For me, it holds me accountable and it puts me on that standard where I always think about my Taekwondo children first. How would they
Of
see
course.
me? You see
Exactly.
what I mean? And that brings me back level head and that always
Yeah, it's
keeps me in a spot of an
like that
example.
moral compass, like the moral guidance that we
Yeah,
need.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, like, uh, you have to walk the walk and talk the talk. Like talk
right.
the
Exactly.
whatever, like all the principles of martial arts, and not only Muay Thai. I mean, any martial art that
Any
I've been
martial
to
art.
is
Absolutely.
is it has not much to do with fighting, but much more with the traditions and everything that it brings of like karate, the art of the open hand. Like
Exactly.
the first thing they taught me in karate is do not fight, walk away.
Right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
right.
Yeah,
That's right.
and
Absolutely.
Restraint.
we have to live by that standard, even as people are looking at us now as competitors. What do you do? Do you become strict and you get into a fight, or do you walk away knowing you have nothing to prove to anybody?
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
That's true. That is so true. That is probably one of the hardest things to do because you think about it. You know you can't beat them. You know you can't hurt them, but you don't want to because you know what could be the effect of it, the after
But,
effect.
but you know what, Frazier? The other thing is, as a fighter, as a competitive fighter, we don't get into fights, in my opinion, not because we can hurt somebody, because we know what a fight is. We know how easy it is to get hurt. It's more of like I can get hurt too. Anybody can punch me the wrong way.
Exactly.
We've gotten punched. We've seen what it can
Yo,
do.
yeah.
People that get into fights like that, in my opinion, they've never seen a real fight. They've
Exactly.
never been in that situation to where
Yes.
you can lose your life.
Exactly.
Exactly. No
Exactly.
doubt about it. No doubt about it. I tell people all the time, even though I've been training for all this time, the easiest thing to do is say sorry and walk away.
Yes.
Not
Yeah.
because, but the easiest and the hardest. I mean, we've all been in a situation where somebody eggs you on, and you're just like, let me just touch his chin once.
Yeah. Just one time.
You know what I mean?
You
Just
know,
once.
That's
Let me
what
just
I'm
touch
like.
his chin once, right? But that's the hardest time. Say sorry and walk away. You see what I'm saying? But
Exactly.
when you are that example, you're just like you said, the liability part of this. I hit him. He hits his head wrong. What did I prove? You see what I'm saying? And it's the discipline, Milton, that you were talking about
Right.
that takes you through everything, through your business, through your relationships, through anything, fathering. It's that discipline that carries you through because it's not always easy to walk away, especially when you have a skill you know that's deadly. And what I mean by deadly is it's just one shot, one place, one wrong thing, and it could be wrong for everybody. You know, like I teach my students all the time. You break it, you bought it. You know, you break it, you
Exactly.
bought
That's
it.
the way it is.
Exactly.
No, the way I treat everything is basically I use the customer service rules. That's what I tell my people. I mean, like in customer service, you don't argue. You acknowledge it is a problem. You repeat it, and then you say how. Yeah, and then you tell them how you're gonna fix it. Like that's the
Exactly.
way I do it with my wife. Oh, you're upset. Why are you upset? Okay, you're upset because of this, that, and that. Okay, how do we fix it?
Right.
Exactly.
Customer service 101.
Absolutely.
Uh, and the thing is, the hard part about it is learning how to control yourself, your ego. It all boils down to your
Mm.
ego, your
Yeah.
emotions. Your ego is the one that doesn't allow you to walk away. And there is such a thing as bad ego, the one uncontrollable ego, and the ego that you can control. That is the one that makes you go a little farther, fight a little more.
Yeah.
You know, but it's
Exactly.
about controlling that emotion.
Yeah. You know, I say this all the time. There are a lot of people sitting in jail because of ego. What
Yes.
he
Yeah.
said,
Exactly.
couldn't say sorry. Oh, he tried to disrespect me. Yeah, but here are all the consequences that happened because of that. You couldn't just get past it. You know, and the truth of the matter is, guys, I've actually learned that when I started having kids. Because before, when
I
I
was
was
gonna
with my
say that.
wife, you know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
just like, nah, he's not going to get away with
Yeah.
that.
Kids change you a lot. Leave my
Yeah.
tell you, kids change you a lot,
Yes.
especially when you deal in situations. You're like,
Man,
no, go home. I don't
we
really
can
want to do that right
we
now.
can talk
You
about
know?
that all day. I mean, like who I was and who I am now. I have three daughters myself, and who I was to who I am now, and the things that I'm willing to do, like that I will never do before. Like that ego part, like I will never let somebody do this to me. I look at my daughters and I'm like, you know what? Let it go. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
No, I know. I got a daughter, so I know. I know.
I just got one. Well, I know even more now. The little one. I'm like, oh man.
Cool.
Well, it touched me, man. The exact thing I look at it too, that most people learn, the kids now, young growing up, don't learn everything you do is the cause, effect, and the reaction. They
Right.
don't. My either coach, I tell them, whatever you do, don't expect somebody gonna stand there and let you do it to them.
That's
They're gonna
right.
react.
That's
So
right.
how you react from that determine what the situation gonna become. Either a
Exactly.
positive or negative.
well,
Exactly.
the way I like to say and the way I explain it to my kids, is in like kind of medical terms.
Okay.
When you take a medicine and you're doing good with the medicine, you're getting cured, or the disease is going away. What do they say? You're responding to the medicine, right?
That's right.
Exactly.
When something goes wrong, the medicine doesn't do what you're supposed to, and you get an allergic reaction, what happened? You're reacting to the medicine.
Right.
Exactly.
That's right.
So I try to tell my kids, don't react. Take a breath. Respond. You
There
know,
it is.
Exactly.
There it is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have
Exactly.
to borrow that from you.
Oh yeah.
anytime, man.
I have to borrow that from you because
Yeah,
that's
copyright it.
exactly it. I like the way you said it, Bill. I like the way you said it.
Nice.
Man,
So,
I try to explain to it, like throughout the years, I've made plenty of mistakes with my kids, but I've also found ways to like get through to them, and I'm still making mistakes, man. There is no, the
We
three of
all
them
are.
are different. I can talk to one in one way, and then it's wrong to the other kid,
exactly. You gotta
So
learn how to.
how long are you out from training before you can start training again?
No, from training, I'm already training again. Uh,
Okay.
I cannot get hit. That's the only difference. So no sparring for
Exactly.
me. But you know what? Like I'm not gonna be. I'm not gonna be like I'm hitting the elliptical. I'm running. I'm doing all the groundwork that I can do without getting hit. You know.
Okay.
Uh, all they told me was do not don't get hit. You know, because I can internally bleed and die. You know, if I get hit the
Oh
wrong way.
wow.
But
So even with the ambulism, not to cut you off, but even with the ambulism, he's not afraid of it bursting with the heavy breathing and the cardio work that you're doing.
no, they told me that's okay. The
Okay.
problem is if I burst an artery from a hit, and it won't get cured because of the blood thinners. It won't
Exactly.
Wow.
something
Yeah.
that normally will be like okay, it will close up and that's it. It won't close.
Okay.
So
Okay.
running, heavy breathing, and everything is fine. Actually, I have good news. It's been 2 months since I was diagnosed. I went to the hospital a few days ago, and they told me the blood clots are disappearing. So
Beautiful.
Nice.
Beautiful.
the
Blessing.
medicine is doing what it's supposed to. You know,
Beautiful.
and again, I working out, getting my breathing back, getting my stamina back. I is part of it for me, man. It's part of me mentally. It keeps me mentally sane.
Right.
Exactly. That same to me. I had a health issue, and I tell you, the training we went through, the knowledge I had of building myself back up, not letting myself go down, try to live a little bit here. It helped me so much to not get so depressed by the health issues. But oh my gosh, it's over. I'm 40 some years old. I can't heal. But for me to come back from a heart injury, a heart disease, and come back, and I'm still here, still look healthy.
Right.
I can understand exactly what you're saying about working out, religiously, dieting, staying fit. It helps you a lot when you get as you get older. A
But
lot.
it's hard though. I mean, and the hard part is like, you know how many times I don't want to go to the gym. I'm like, I don't feel like getting up and going. But even though I don't feel like it, when I do have the discipline and I get up and go, I never feel worse because I went and worked out.
Exactly.
I always feel better when I come out of there sweating. Uh, but for some reason, I never want to go.
Yeah. Well, I tell all my clients too, 90% of it is showing up.
Yeah,
90% of it is showing up because
you know,
mentally, once you show up, you can train.
that's how I started. I was when I started, I was 320 pounds. I went to this martial arts school, and they told me one class, and they told me, "No, you're too big, you're too fat, we cannot help you." You know?
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So I'm like, I got that in my head. I'm too big, I'm too fat. I can't I can't be a fighter. I can't do this. Uh, my daughter asked me, Dad, didn't you want to be a fighter when you were little? I'm like, yeah, I did. He said, well, you told me I can do anything I wanted to do. How come you never done it?
Girls, I
Mm.
told you guys,
Wow.
girls, I told you.
Oh man, she got you.
So I put her into martial arts. I put her into this Muay Thai class, and the coach asked me, "Hey, why don't you join up a class?" I'm like, "I'm too old. I'm too big. I'm too fat. I can do this." So one day he goes, "Like, hold pass for your daughter," like a family class. And then I liked it, and I started showing up one day at a time. The first day, embarrassing. I mean, I couldn't put on the shin guards because I couldn't bend over. That's how fat I was.
Hmm.
And I just showed up one day at a time, one day at a time. It took me about a year. My wife said that the first year I wasn't learning martial arts. I was just losing weight.
That's right.
There was no training. So,
Yeah.
so on the second year is when I started training. Like, I want to fight. Now I feel I can do it. And the coach was like, no, not yet, not yet. Year and a half, 2 years passed by, and he goes, Milton, what do you feel? How do you feel about this tournament? Um, what tournament? And talking about the TBA. He goes, I think you're ready. Let's go. And it was a surreal experience, man. I went all the way to Oregon, Iowa, sorry, to the biggest tournament in the nation. I'm talking about they did about 750 fighters,
Yeah.
600 fights in a weekend.
Yeah.
It's huge. I mean,
Wow.
and I lost my first fight there. Uh, it was crazy because once you lose, you're out.
Right.
So I'm there. I spent all this money going all the way to Iowa, and I'm about to cry in the back, man. My kids just saw me over the podcast, over the pay per view, whatever,
Yeah.
and I did this. I can't believe it. And my opponent comes out to the back and say, "Hey, can I talk to you?" I'm like, "Man, what are you doing? You're here to gloat, you know?" Yeah, I'm about to burst into tears, man. And he goes, "Say, no, I wanted to talk to you because I wanted to hear from me before you heard from the officials." I froze my first fight. Uh, I froze completely. I threw two techniques in 3 rounds. I threw one left kick and I did one clinch move, and then I got hammered the whole other way. Well, in those two techniques, I broke the guy's ribs, and and his tendon on the arm came out, and it went all the way to the shoulder.
Hmm.
So he couldn't continue to fight the next fight. Uh, and they asked me, "Do you want to continue?" And I'm like, "I get a second chance." I mean, like, even though I just lost the
Wow.
fight, and I couldn't believe it. Then I really like, oh my god, and no, I thought that was like unbelievable to begin with. Then I don't know if you guys know in Muay Thai, as we're coming into the ring, we seal it. It's
Right.
a ritual.
Yeah,
We
ritual.
seal, we seal the ring, and we do our little ritual. And as I'm sealing the ring, I look at the first row of the audiences, and guess who's there? My opponent with his family,
Right.
his kids,
Oh wow.
and they're all cheering for me. At that moment, I show the why, which is respect on Muay
Right.
Thai, and I wasn't I wasn't longer fighting for my coach. I wasn't longer listening to anything. I was like, wow, this guy he got to me. He got to me emotionally. So I'm like, I got to take advantage of the second chance that I've been given,
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
and that's how I won that fight. That's what drove me. That was my why to win that second fight.
Nice.
It
Wow.
was 3 fights on a weekend, which is, and the third fight I was already like all damaged. I was all beat up, and the next day I go like, okay, let's fight this guy, bigger guy than me. I start going into the fight. Everything is going good, and on the third round, my coach goes, when the bell rung in the second round, my coach goes, are you done? Do you want me to throw in the towel? I'm like, no, I'm not done. What's wrong with you? No. And when I come out on the third round, I try to like gas up. I mean, I was gassed. I tried to get a second win again, and 1 minute in, I realized I'm 1 minute away to taking a belt home,
Right.
Exactly.
and that gave me that second power win that like this is mine, and like it was given to me, it was meant for me,
Mm.
and I took it,
Mm.
and then Ajahn Chai, which is the founder of the TBA, gave me my belt. I mean,
Wow.
it was the most amazing experience in the world. I was there with my coach, and they gave him a uncle that you win for because it was the 50th year anniversary of the organization.
Okay.
Nice. To touch back on you said that the respect in Muay Thai as I learned it is so amazing. Like you can have an opponent, we beat each other out in the ring. I mean, beat each other out. When the fight's over, we're friends.
Yeah.
We're like
Yeah,
the best
Yeah.
of friends in the world. That is the most greatest thing I think in all sports. They should have that sportsmanship. They don't. You
man.
know,
I
amazing.
have friends all over the nation because of Muay Thai. I went to this thing called the Oregon Camp, which is about 10 yarns or masters of the sport come together, and for a week we train together. And their motto is we're all the same bag of bones, we're all the same flesh, you know. So in that camp, it doesn't matter if you're a master or if you're a student. We're all the same. We all show respect. And well, there I got to train with a young Greg Nelson, Eric Paulson,
Oh
Hmm.
wow.
uh, a young Chai, Danny Nosanto,
Hmm.
Oh
and all these people there in one room training with you for a
wow.
week. You know,
Wow, that's
camping
awesome.
on the woods, sleeping and breathing Muay Thai. It was amazing. Me talking to a Greg Nelson about his cancer, like we're like friends. Now we're friends. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, I was
Wow.
starstruck just being there.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
I definitely can understand that. Because like I said, I used to watch MMA fighters and things like that, and they're just real people. And what they gravitate to is they gravitate to other real people. It's always great training when you can sit there and your master instructors can tell you and they can talk to you like a real person, because they're always seen as a step above. And even my uh, instructor, who was a grandmaster, always treated me like I'm still a first degree black belt. He never changed, never changed, and I always respected him for that. I'm like, this guy's internationally known, but he always, I mean, he had the how do I say this? He thought enough of me to pick up the phone and call me as a first degree black belt to see how I was doing. Not my,
That's what it's all
Oh
about.
wow.
not my instructor at the time, not anybody else. I literally looked at my phone like I was driving. I was like, Master Wheatley's calling me. Something must be wrong. You know what I mean? And he was just calling to see how I was doing, and I was blown away by that. Blown away by it.
Yeah, no, it's the most amazing feeling when you can when you can say that, when your instructors are not, even though we look up to them, they're humble enough to be with us, like to be
Yes.
part. Yeah, I
Exactly.
don't know how to explain it, but uh, to me it's surreal that I can go and talk to these people that are so accomplished in the sport, that have done so much,
Right.
and they can talk to you as a normal human being. They're stars, but they don't look at themselves as stars.
Right.
Exactly. That's amazing.
You know what it is? Like, I was training on the camp, and while you're training, and man, if I tell you what they do there, it's like crazy. I mean, they tell you, if they would have told me what I was gonna do, I would have never
Oh,
gone.
wow.
They wake you up 6 o'clock in the 5 o'clock in the 6 o'clock in the morning. You're camping on the woods in the middle of Oregon, and they go, okay, go run 3 miles,
Hmm.
come back. Now we're gonna do 60 rounds. 60 rounds, 6 0. It's not my accent here. It's 60 rounds.
Wow.
Uh, and while you're doing these rounds, Danny Nosanto, which is he was a student of Bruce Lee. He was,
Hmm.
he's a guru in martial arts, not only Muay Thai. I'm talking about Kali. He does pretty much everything. Uh, he's playing the drums for you, and he's playing the drums as you're training for these 60 rounds.
Hmm.
And then I found out that they do this. This camp came about because of Danny Nosanto's birthday.
Oh wow.
So I get there with this 80-year-old man that can run circles around me, and we got to cut him a cake and sing happy birthday to Daniel Santo. It was like
Nice.
amazing.
Wow. That's
How
amazing.
awesome is that,
Oh
man?
wow.
So yeah, like now I came back, and when I came back from that camp, I came up. It humbled me. It humbled me to see the masters being human.
Right.
You know,
Exactly. It's
So
always a good thing.
talk to us about your training regimen and routine. And the reason why I say this is because I have one, and I'm over 40, but I've been doing this since I was a teenager. So everybody looks at me and goes, "Oh, that doesn't count. You've always been doing it." But you started a little bit later in life, as you said. So please just qualify me, okay, to let them know that this is real work. Please tell the fans what your training regimen when you're training. Is it an hour, 2 hours? Are you doing split sessions? Are you doing 3 sessions a day? What's
well,
a
I
typical day for you?
I started one session a day, 45 minutes. That's all I could do. I mean, even sometimes when I started, I couldn't do the full 45 minutes.
Right.
It's something that you have to build up to. And how bad do you want it? From one session a day, I started, okay, now I feel good doing this one session. Let me add another one. So I added one in the morning, one at night, training twice a day. I did that for a while. Now, when I'm getting ready for a fight, I do 3 hour and a half sessions. One at 5 o'clock in the morning,
Right.
12 noon. I went through another. I'm sorry. I went through another phase to where I overtrain. I will do like a 3 hour session and another 3 hour session, and that wasn't getting me the results that I wanted. Then you start finding out as you get more into it that you have to space out your sessions. Your body has to reset and recover from each session. Like, so I at least space them out 4 hours, 4 to 5 hours apart. So like that, my body can know, like, this happened. You stress yourself. Now it's over. Then we go again at another time. Uh, you reset your body. So I now when I'm getting ready, I go 3 sessions a day. I do one session of high hit cardio.
Hmm.
You know, I do the other session is more of weight training, and the last session is all technical sparring, technical pad holding, moves, drilling, and stuff like that. Um,
Yeah.
all the sessions have their own purpose, and they're all not the same. So it's not like if I go and run 3 miles in the morning, run 3 miles in the afternoon, and then 3 miles at night. That would be completely counterproductive. The only thing that I found out is that everything has to have a purpose, and everything has to have
Yeah,
a reason.
that's
Exactly.
right. That's right.
Exactly.
Now, were you doing the training yourself, or were you working with a coach? So what I mean is, somebody holding the pads, timer. Let's do this routine, because a lot of people when they're training, they're like, "Oh, I don't know what to do," or they're just like, "He's pushing me too hard," or they just psych themselves up so much that they just can't do it. You know, mentally they psych themselves up so much that their body just can't function. They shut down completely.
Yes, seen that plenty of times. Um, I usually I do a lot of grunt, what I call the grunt work on my
Hmm.
own, you know, and I do train with coaches. I mean, like, coaches are necessary. You have to have a coach. Professional fighters have a coach. George Masvidal has a coach.
That's right.
Why? Because at the end of the day, you you will never push yourself as your coach would, and you will never see what your coach sees. It's easy to give up. I like to quote myself the Navy SEAL rule, which is like the 60-40. At 40% of your capacity, your mind will give up. Your mind will give up first on your body.
Right.
And when you think you can't anymore, you still got 16% in your body that you can use.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
it is nearly impossible for you to bring that out of yourself by yourself without
That's
proper
it.
training.
That's
That's where
it.
your coach comes in.
Mhm.
That's where your coach comes in and tells you, push a little harder. Give me that one last kick. Give me those next few rounds. And your coach, given that he knows what he's doing, he'll know exactly when you're done and when you're not.
Right. Right.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's so
And,
true.
and
I
then the
couldn't
other
agree
thing is
more.
having the program. Having the program, your coach knows what you need, where you lack, where you're strong, working your weaknesses, your strength, and how to get, and mostly how to motivate you, how to get the best out of you that you
Right.
didn't think you can get for yourself.
Right.
That's
Right.
true. That is true. I see it a lot. I probably say the same thing in coaching. You want to be better. You want to make sure your peers see you at your best every all time, and that
Hmm.
reflects down to them. They see you at your best. They want to be the best. They
Like
work hard.
I told my students, like I told these guys that I'm training now, uh, your worst day at the gym is gonna be your best day at the fight.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's no doubt about it.
Exactly.
I like what you said when you said that your coaches don't see everything that you see. Because a lot of students, what they will do is they'll be like, they're talking about the opponent. No, I'm talking about you. Okay. Your movement, your lack of motivation, your style, everything. When I was trying out for the national team back in 2003, I'm telling on myself, okay? Back in 2003, um, I didn't make the team. I didn't make the team because I didn't have a coach, an instructor. I trained myself. In 2007, I went to an instructor, Master Fatigato in Brooklyn, and first time he saw me spar, he was like, "What's wrong with you? You're so big. You're this. You're that. Why do you have this? Why do you do this when you punch? Why do you do that?" And he literally had to scrape me down and dust all the rust off, take my good points, okay, and leave all the bad stuff. And in 2007, when I tried out for the team again, I made the U.S. team and I went to the
Well,
U.S.
there you go.
You know, so I definitely can attest to, what coaches see and what coaches don't see. Because, like you said, a good coach will see all your potential and make sure that you strengthen all of your weaknesses. Absolutely, no doubt about it.
Yeah, that's what a coach is to me, man. Somebody, and then the trust in, at least in fighting, because that's all. The only sport I've really done is that. Uh, Man, when your coach is in your corner and you're in a fight, and they tell you throw one, throw a two, or throw a cross
Yeah,
or a kick, and then you go like, man, have you seen this guy?
yeah,
You come and throw a kick,
yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
and
But they
it's
can
like
see,
that
absolutely.
trust.
That's
It,
Exactly.
right. Trust. They can see exactly what you can't
Exactly.
see in that ring. And so when you throw that kick and you nail it, you go, what happened? Oh, because he's open here, but you didn't see it because you were on this side.
Yeah.
Right, and you landed,
Exactly. That's why you
but
got hit.
it takes time. It takes time. It takes love to build that trust for you to be able to throw that kick when when your coach tells you to, even though you don't see it.
Right.
That's blind trust. You know, like sometimes I tell people, "No, throw this," and they're like, "No, I'm not throwing that to the guy." You
Right.
know, and they go, "Throw it," and then they throw it and say, "It lands." You say, "You see." But it takes time to develop that kind of trust within a student and a coach, and it's a bond, you know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Say it again. It takes time to develop that trust between a student and a coach. You know, definitely, no doubt about
Yes.
it.
Exactly.
All right, Milton. Well, look, we definitely appreciate you being on. We're going to move on to a new segment. We can talk about fighting all day, actually.
All day, every day.
Yes,
However,
sir.
you know, but I want to change the topic a little bit. I know you guys are from Florida, so what's going on with the Miami man and this LA playoffs? They
Hey
got
man, Miami
smashed
Heat,
yesterday.
baby.
Man,
Miami Heat all the way.
I mean, no, but it's crazy. It's like in one token you have LeBron James in the other team that let's say, okay, we're gonna be champions without him, and then on the other side, the why is like Kobe Bryant just like passed
Yeah,
away,
yeah.
and now the LA, they're playing for that. They're playing
Right,
for Kobe. So
right.
it's like it's a lot going on this season.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah, there's
It's
no
hard
doubt
to root
about
for.
it.
You don't know who to root for. Like you
but
said, one side Kobe, you want on it there. Then one side you want Miami Heat to win to prove they can win without LeBron.
honestly, I'm really proud of the young kids from the Miami Heat. They're they came out of nowhere and they're doing this, and they weren't like they're not LeBron James. You know what I mean? They're playing as a team. I think Eric Spoelstra is doing a great job coaching this
Oh
team.
yeah.
And it's showing. It's showing like he's building a championship team. So
So let me ask you really quick, as he's saying he's building a championship team. Do you think that the skill set that LA has right now is just above what they're doing, or do you think that Miami just really went into that first game starstruck with all the players that LA came with, LeBron, Davis, I mean everybody, you know?
it's
Mm.
hard to say, man. I mean, I know these kids want it. They're young. They're hungry. They want it. Uh, but yeah, I will be a little starstruck with it. Playing against these monsters. I mean, they're monsters of the sport.
Yeah,
You know, and just the publicity alone that LeBron James has and who he is on the sport and what he did in Miami,
right.
uh,
Yeah.
is he's a tough player. I mean, I've been again not talk about fighting again, but I've been to fights. I say I look at this guy, I say, wow, that's the guy. I mean, I look up to this guy. What am I
Right,
doing?
right,
Exactly.
absolutely. No doubt
These
about it.
kids probably grew up wanting to be LeBron James.
It's true.
Exactly.
There's no doubt about it. No
That's
doubt
it.
about it. It's
Look,
hard when you look at your idol and look at somebody you respect, whether you got to compete against them, fight against them,
exactly.
but it's
Right.
very hard. It's very hard.
Exactly. That's
Quick
what me.
question.
With me. Then
Finish,
I want
Phrase.
to ball.
Finish,
I
Phrase.
want
I
to
got a
ball.
question, though. I got a question. Okay, this is going back to combat sports. It just came into my mind. Okay,
Okay.
Conor McGregor's fighting Manny Pacquiao. He put a tweet out.
Yeah,
Now,
I heard that.
Oh no, I don't know what that one.
okay, wait, hold on. See, he heard it. All right, so I just didn't make this up. Quick question. Do you think that it's just for hype? Do you think that McGregor actually needs something new to do? You think he's tired with the UFC? Because look, I'm gonna be honest with you. Manny Pacquiao has, in my opinion, a couple steps behind. A couple steps behind. That's why I feel like Mayweather didn't fight him when he was at his prime, when he was knocking out guys like Margarito and De La Hoya. He waited till he got just a half a step behind. So what do you think McGregor's plan is? Does he recognize that he slowed down a lot and is this just a money fight for him? I'll start with you, Milton. How do you see it phrased? Then you can come back in.
All right.
In my opinion, McGregor is a master marketer. Uh, he's a great fighter, a fighter in the UFC. But what he did between boxing and MMA and Mayweather, that money he made more money than he will ever make in the UFC on that fight alone.
Right.
Uh, this can he beat Pacquiao? I don't think so, man. Well, he's been doing the last 3 years. He's been doing all this boxing, and that I don't know about, that I don't see, and he's sharpened up like you wouldn't believe. I don't see him beating Pacquiao in his worst days.
Okay.
Just like I didn't see him beating Mayweather. I mean, like whoever thought he could beat Mayweather was on something. Mayweather is the most defensive fighter of all time,
Technical. Absolutely.
technical fighter of all time. He knows
Right.
what he's doing. You don't get how many fights does he have? 51, 52?
50,
Yeah.
52
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
51. You don't. If I put 51 people of a parking lot to fight any of us, one of them will beat us. You don't
Right.
get to that point without being the best at what you do. You know,
Right.
and Pacquiao. I mean, Pacquiao is another element. Different style. I don't. Aside from the lucky puncher's perspective of like that lucky puncher gets in, I don't see him beating Pacquiao. I think it's more of a money hype. It's another. It will make money. People will pay to see this pay per view, and they'll make millions out of it. I mean, it's a win-win for them.
Right. Frazier, how you see it?
Well, I'm gonna go on Milton that part there. That I think Pacquiao, to me, he seems he a step behind, but I don't think he really a step behind. He's a baller. He's a 100% baller. And see what McGregor is, he's a baller for MMA. So he gonna stand up and take it toe to toe with Pacquiao, which you gonna lose. That's why Mayweather, more defensive, was a better fighter going into a Pacquiao fight because Pacquiao never fought a person was so defensive. He
Right.
watched people go up front, let's go, blah, 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 blah. He's not used to this, then come back. So if McGregor come in as he did with the Mayweather fight, he is not going to be Pacquiao.
But
He may
first,
get a few punches.
let
But
me ask you: when have you ever seen Mayweather walk forward and throw punches?
exactly.
Oh,
That's
He
what
you're
did.
absolutely right.
want.
He did that. He did that with McGregor. He was like so like this guy is not gonna do anything. That he walked forward and threw punches. I mean, like
Exactly.
However, he didn't do it in the beginning. He waited 3 rounds, and then when he
Exactly.
realized that it was, then he started walking forward.
of course,
Exactly.
but you
Right.
know what? He stuck to a game plan. This
Right.
Yep.
guy never went 12 rounds. He's gonna get tired. He's gonna do this. He's gonna do that.
Yep.
Now he's tired. Now let me play with him. I
Exactly.
agree with him
Very
100%.
strategic. Very
That's
strategic.
sticking to a game plan.
Exactly.
Okay.
But remember now, you just seen Mayweather fight his first two fights he fought Roy Jones. He still toe to toe with Roy Jones. He learned the valuable lessons. You can give you, even though you're defensive, but that one punch can actually get you and daze you.
Yeah,
Right.
that one time
He
he only
learned
takes
that.
one.
And we watched the Pacquiao fight. Pacquiao hit him one time, and he back. Whoa, hold on now.
Right.
Now, remember something. That's
Right.
not what I used to. So now he went back to. But see, McGregor hit him 2 times, pissed him off.
That one
You
Right.
uppercut. That one
never
uppercut
know.
was the opportunity.
Exactly. You never know. Maybe if I was McGregor fight, he always, no man. He always do this, block here. When you get tired, the hand get lazy.
Right.
And guess what happened? Mayweather saw that and took advantage of it.
Big time.
Big
Well,
time.
You know, I'm going to say it like this, and I hope I can wrap this up, kind of.
Okay.
Um, McGregor is a professional MMA fighter, and in
Yes.
MMA, there's a lot of different rules that don't apply to boxing. You know, in
Right.
boxing, you
Exactly.
actually always have to have your hands up and moving, whereas MMA, you know, McGregor has that open style, or he'll drop his hands, or this, that, and the third.
Exactly.
And that's just basically because his shoulders are tired. Because as boxers, you always have to have your hands up, right? And I think if Pacquiao can put the game plan together that he put with De La Hoya, because if you remember in that fight, now I'm telling on myself because that fight was a while back. However, if you go back and watch that fight, you will see that Pacquiao actually had De La Hoya punching at somebody that wasn't there. You see what I mean?
Right.
So I'm saying that to say that if he can bring that Manny Pacquiao back, I think McGregor's going to have a long night. A long night.
Exactly.
To me, he's gonna have a long night period because it's just a different sport.
Right.
Like not to take anything away from McGregor, but he's like you
Yeah.
say, he's an MMA fighter. It's a different sport. We train different. I've been to boxing gyms, man, and like they train completely different to anything I do.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have too.
Exactly.
And I have to tell you, you know, you may think that you can throw 100 punches in a couple minutes, but you can't. You definitely can't. And
No.
sometimes when you know you're required to throw 20 punches in a few minutes and this, that, and the third, you just completely gas because that's not your skill set. You've done something
Right.
Exactly.
else for a long time. You know,
Exactly. You can vouch for me. You can vouch for me at the moment I first started training. I
right?
had my boss mentality. He kept telling me, keep it, hey, you gotta watch this, watch this. Don't do this. You gotta block this. I always had attention to drop my shoulder down because that's all you do in boxing.
Right.
You
Yeah,
drop
it
the
happens
shoulder.
to everybody.
And then, well, matter of fact, make sure I remember. Oh, yeah, okay. Keep it up. Yeah. So
Yeah,
they take the telephone on your hand each time. Keep the
that's
telephone
right.
up
Yeah,
That's right.
keep your hand on the phone. That's what you just
all
talk.
the
Keep your
time.
hand
Hand
on the
That's
on the
phone,
it,
phone.
man.
man. I could tell my students all the time, those are just love taps. Go ahead, catch it.
Right.
Catch it. No doubt
Oh
about it.
man.
Well, guys, we have about 4.5 minutes left, man. I really enjoyed the conversation. Milt, is there anything else you want to add to the interview? I think we wrapped it up, but man, loved having you on the show.
No,
Yeah,
thank you
much
so much for
welcome.
having me. I mean, Frazier, thank you so much for inviting me. George,
Pleasure,
it's a
brother.
pleasure to meet you. Uh,
Absolutely.
I had a lot of fun. I mean, I thought it was going to be 20 minutes, but the conversation kept on going. And it's been awesome. And thank you for anybody listening out there. I mean, and thank you for allowing me to share my experiences with you. You know,
Absolutely.
it's been amazing.
Why
Hope
don't
to
you
have you
come
come
back?
back though.
Yes, absolutely. Come back and let us know how your kids did. We would definitely love to have you.
No, thank you so much. Yeah, I'll post updates and everything on how they do. The fight is going to be Saturday.
Okay.
Okay. You know the
Saturday.
address? You post the address to
Huh?
the address, so in case somebody or listener want to come to
Is
the fight.
I don't know exact address. It's in Komodo Training Center here out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Okay.
Uh, right now with the COVID thing, I don't think they're taking audiences. You know,
Okay.
Okay.
it's more of a private thing because of all the restrictions of
Right.
the mayor down
So
here.
yeah,
Okay.
gotcha.
Well, we wish you well. And just let us know how they did. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Will do. Thank you so much for having me, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Appreciate it. Bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Bless you.
Bye bye. All right, George.
Man, that was a
What an
good
interview,
episode.
man. What an interview. I like it. I like it.
Glad he said it, because it's that discipline, man, and that training that, a lot of people take for granted. I don't know how many people that I've talked to, clients, everybody thinks that you're just going to wake up one day and do it. And like
Exactly.
Milton said, man, I mean, he spent a whole year, brother, just losing weight. You know,
Hey, I trained with him.
now listen,
A witness of it.
if that's not a testament to his fortitude, because he could have left at any time. I'm not
Exactly.
fighting. I'm not competing. I came here to fight, but he stuck with it. And it's harder, believe it or not, phrase, it's harder to lose weight when you're older. You see,
Exactly.
when you're
I'm
younger, the weight
touch
just
on it.
comes off, but to do that and then come back, man, and then have to go through that whole process of losing a fight, being completely demoralized, coming back, getting that second opportunity and winning.
Oh man. Hey,
Oh
take
man,
advantage of opportunity. What they say, opportunity knocks. You
that's
gotta be prepared to knock that door
truly,
down.
truly incredible. That's truly incredible. I mean,
It's
straight
amazing.
up, hate to say it, they should make a movie about that because really,
That's
in
right.
real life,
We're
that's
right.
what those movies are about. He
Oh
could have
yeah.
quit at any
Just
time,
firing somebody,
completely
you know?
demoralized, but he came back, took advantage of his opportunities, man, and became a champion. You know, and
And he
I'm just
trained hard. I've seen him, like I say, I've seen him train. He one of the hardest person to train I've seen in my life. I mean, he dedicated to it. He's been in and out, you know. When I
right,
was training, he helped me out.
right.
Yeah, because I was the same way. I can throw a kick for nothing.
Well, kicking is not easy, praise. Okay,
And he
punch
started
is
doing 30
allowed.
kicks here, 30
Yeah.
kicks here. No, man, that was killing me. But watching him train and understand how his discipline was, and my coach, like I said, coach, we had a wonderful coach who was very understanding and patient. There's
Mhm.
nothing most people don't understand. Patience with newcomers are very rare. Best to come to coaches. The moment he explained back the child quiet school we went to, oh, you're too fat, too big. We don't want to take. They don't want to deal with the actual discipline of actually training somebody,
Right,
from scratch.
right,
And have somebody take a time to train you, understand your limitations, but make your limitations better.
right.
You know, like I would tell him, when I went to training with a teacher, he said, had part of my knee. He says, I had the same part of my knee. Ain't no excuse. You
Right,
can do anything.
right,
Just go through it. And that's
right.
what happened. By a week or 2 weeks later, He had Milton vouch for me. I was throwing a kick like a champ.
Right.
I was throwing punches like a champ. I learned all the discipline I learned before that was hindering me was not hindering me anymore.
Right.
You know, it was a beautiful thing. I'll tell you, it was a beautiful thing. You know?
Well, fans, we want to thank you for taking the time. We definitely want to thank Milton for coming in and talking to us.
Exactly.
Stay tuned next week for Real Talk with George and Frazier. We appreciate you all coming out and looking forward to it next week.
Yeah, there you go. It's Frazier.
This is George. Real Talk.